Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review, so we'll be looking at films that are either lesser known or kind of long forgotten, and I will point out that we won't give these reviews the same scrutiny against the sort of the blockbuster mega budget films. We'll kind of be looking at them in their own category, so based on really the budgets that they had to work with. So today we're going to be having a look into the animated film Flight of Dragons. Now, this was one of my favourite films when I was younger, so you can probably sense the way this review is going to go. Flight of Dragons is an animated film. Now, when it was released, there wasn't really the market there is for animation for adults that there is today. So it was a children's animation film, but it was an intelligent one, I would say. Essentially, it's the story of a bunch of wizards. I think there's 4 of them, 3 kind of good, if you like, and 1 evil. And because our world now is forgetting about, they doesn't believe in magic and science kind of overtaking everything, and as the world goes on, the world of magic is essentially disappearing. So this basically, the wizards essentially have a meeting and sort of discuss the options, so to speak. The evil wizard essentially wants to wipe out mankind as is and make them destroy themselves. And it's quite clever because they kind of throw in things like nuclear warfare, and this is how they will destroy themselves. It's obviously, if we look at today's world, this is all such a threat. So what they do is the good wizards, if you like, they recruit a hero from the outside world, as in the real scientific world, as in our world, and he's basically a kind of a nerdy scientist type guy, who's certainly not one of your classic heroic types. He's into board games and everything, and so they essentially bring him into the fantasy world as such to go on a quest. Now, as part of the rules of the quest, there has to be so many people to start the quest. And this is a world where dragons and fantasy creatures are obviously alive and well. And through a bunch of circumstances, the main character, I think his name is Peter, essentially merges with a dragon and essentially becomes his mind, but in the dragon's body. So they have to go on this quest to essentially defeat Omegon. I think the bad guy's name is voiced by James Earl Jones. And with him, there is another dragon who is basically an elderly dragon who wasn't originally going to go on the quest, but as they went from 2 to 1, as in Peter and this other dragon that he had to go to make up the number. There's a knight, a knight who's been friends with the family for a long time, the wizards. There's a talking wolf, a dwarf, and a female sort of warrior as well. And Peter, the sort of the main sort of protagonist, has fallen in love with this princess who's kind of fallen under a spell, or what have you. So it's the story essentially of them going through to defeat Omegon and restore the balance and end the threat essentially. It very much moves very similar to Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. I think the way the quest is set up, it's a similar story, and they even kind of go into the sort of the first part of the quest. They have a kind of go into like a tavern and stuff, very much like Lord of the Rings and that. And but it's despite that, it's still a really good film. It's intelligently written. The way they actually explain how dragons work, as in how they fly and how they breathe fire, and it's all kind of approached from both a magical perspective, and because this guy is from our world, he sort of tries to figure out from a science point of view. So again, for a kids film, it's fairly heavy going, and he does it's one of those things that you kind of makes you think, and you can kind of watch it and ignore that stuff really if you are a kid, you just want to see the action. but it's quite clever film as well. It's a good, intelligent film. It's got really good music. The animation for the time, I think, was very, very good. It's possibly dragged on a little bit in places, I would say, if I've got to pick holes in it. But overall, a thoroughly enjoyable film. I'm not gonna spoil this one for you. So if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend go watching it. And I'll give this one 8.5 out of 10.